Oh, hello there guys, and welcome to a brand new section, section 2, REST from scratch. So let's go through a very quick section overview where we're going to see everything that we're going to learn in this section. So basically the goal for this section is to create a very simple to-do application with a REST API. So it's going to be the exact same example that we saw in the previous section, but we're going to actually build it, and we're going to do so from scratch. So we're going to be using Java Servlets, which is the most bare bones way you can do APIs in Java. And we're going to do a REST API, which is going to provide us with the methods that we saw earlier. So we're going to be able to list, edit, create, update, and delete our to-dos. And by to-do, of course, I mean an item in a to-do list. So it's going to be very simple. I'm going to have a string text, okay, and maybe an ID, and just that. Okay, so this is the goal for this section. Now, this video is understanding servlets. So the goal for this video is to actually understand what is a Java servlet and why we're going to use those. And we're also going to take a look at what tools we're going to be using throughout the course. So what is going to be required to be installed so we can proceed with the course. Okay.
Okay, first of all, let's better understand how servlets work, because we're going to be using servlets and we need to know that. Servlets are the most primitive way to create web servers in Java. They are part of the Java EE specification, meaning any server implementation should support this API. We are going to create our code following a set of Java standards API, and the container we selected, which will be Jetty for this lesson, will understand how to interpret it. We could have chosen any other container, and the same code would work as well. So this flowchart shows basically what we're going to do. We're going to have our code, and our code is going to follow the servlet spec. And also going to have a container. The container is the base code that's going to run our app. And this container also understands about the servlet API. So this servlet API is kind of a middle ground. So if you want to change the container, okay, you can. In the same way, a single container can be used by multiple applications, given that all of them follow the servlet spec. So that's basic explanation of how servlets work. We're going to use this to create our to-do REST API application. Okay. We're also going to need a very basic setup. Well, it's not much the expected, right? Of course, this is a Java 11 course, so we need to have Java 11. We need to have a compatible Maven, because we're going to be using Maven to create the project. So we're going to have a pom.xml file, things like that. You probably want an IDE or at least a text editor. I'm going to be using IntelliJ IDEA. It's a very good, very powerful IDE. I do recommend that, but that's not necessary. We're going to be doing very basic stuff in Java for now, so you can of course use your VS Code, your text editor, Vim if you'd like, VI, anything. One important piece of software we're going to need though is Postman. So remember, we saw earlier how to use and how to install Postman. We're still going to use that because remember, the browser is not an appropriate tool for testing APIs, because it doesn't allow for easily changing the verb or doing specific requests. In order to use the browser, we need to actually write JavaScript code to test the API. That's out of the scope of this course. We're going to use Postman. It's a very pleasant tool to work with. You're going to learn to love it. We're going to use for every API you're going to make, even if it's not REST.